So I've already done one of these for the largest streaming service out there, Netflix. If you haven't seen it, check it out. This video will look at 10 of the best indie films available to stream on Amazon Prime. Obviously, this is not a complete list. There are plenty of other great indie movies on the platform. Specifically, there's some older ones that I'm not covering here. These are all from the last decade. Number 10 is 1001.
The city had him. He's not supposed to be with me.
Can't you get locked up for
Not
that?
if you keep it to yourself.
Where's my dad at?
He's gone. But you wouldn't have liked him anyway. I got somebody else in mind. Terry, I want you to meet Lucky. Lucky's gonna be moving in with us.
For how long?
Hey,
1001 is a 2023 film, just came out last year, directed by A.V. Rockwell. It actually won the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance the year that it came out. It is fairly low budget, no major theatrical release, but it's worth a watch. It follows Tiana Taylor as she's essentially taking care of her son through multiple stages of his life. Her son, named Terry in the film, is played by 3 different actors at 3 different ages. It explores the life of a person of color living in New York City. It explores the foster care system, and it explores really what it means to be a family. It's heartwarming and heart-wrenching, and was definitely one of the best low-budget indies of the year. Number 9 is Manchester by the Sea.
What happened to my brother?
so that's Lily Chandler.
I don't understand.
Which part are you having trouble
Well,
with?
I can't be his guardian.
Well, your brother provided for your nephew's upkeep. I think the idea was that you would relocate.
Manchester by the Sea is one of the better-known films on this list. Came out in 2016 to pretty much universal critical acclaim. It's directed by Kenneth Lonergan, who is actually mostly known as a playwright. And if you've seen this film, you can certainly see that influence. There are a lot of simple locations. A lot of the film's greatest moments are through the dialogue of its central characters. It's very much kind of a lived-in experience. It stars Casey Affleck. I know that we don't all love Casey Affleck, which is more than fair, but he does put on a brilliant performance here alongside Michelle Williams, and also a real breakout performance from Lucas Hedges, who in many ways provides the most kind of devastating performance of the film. There's one scene in particular that when you watch this, you'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It did well at the Academy Awards, actually Affleck coming home with Best Actor, and Lonergan winning Best Original Screenplay. Number 8 is Saint Maud.
Dear God, your presence graces the air, and soon everyone will see you.
Hi, you Maud?
Yes, hi.
Saint Maud is a film from up-and-coming British director Rose Glass, and it is a twisted ride. I honestly love what Glass does here with Saint Maud. She puts us directly into the mind, the psyche of an obviously unreliable narrator. And as we kind of witness her transformation, both as a person, but also with this overarching kind of religious influence, we have to question whether what we're seeing is true or whether it's part of this kind of fabrication that our protagonist has created. The final scene here was actually my favorite scene of the year, 2019 slash 2020, when it was released to wider audiences. It's good to note that Rose Glass had a film playing at Sundance this year, which I was able to catch Love Lies Bleeding, starring Kristen Stewart alongside Katie O'Brien. And while I didn't love it as much as I enjoyed Saint Maud, I think it has the potential to really be a classic within this kind of horror genre. Number 7 is Women Talking.
Why does love, the absence of love, the end of love, the need for love, result in so much violence?
Women Talking is the latest film from acclaimed Canadian director Sarah Polley in 2022. This brilliant ensemble cast, I can't list everyone, but it includes folks like Rooney Mara, Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, and the one male performance in the film, Ben Whishaw. They were all brilliant, all amazing, and their performances in tandem with this brilliant script really elevated what is a fairly simple film on its surface to a whole nother level. As the title suggests, most of the film is simply women talking, something which admittedly we don't get enough of on screen. It's rooted in the real story of a Mennonite colony where a number of women were being sexually assaulted by men of the colony. The telling of this story becomes even more significant when we come to realize and understand that Sarah Polley herself grew up on a Mennonite colony, and so she's able to pull from her own experiences alongside the real story of what happened to these women to craft a truly memorable narrative. Number 6 is Paterson.
Morning, Donnie. Everything okay?
No, not really. My kid needs braces on her teeth. My car needs a transmission job. My wife wants me to take her to Florida, but I'm behind on the mortgage payments. My uncle called from India and he needs money for my niece's wedding, and I got this strange rash on my back. How about you?
I'm okay.
Paterson is another film that on the surface doesn't feel like it has too much complexity. It's a fairly simplistic narrative. It follows Adam Driver, who is a bus driver in the city of Paterson, but he's also a poet. So we have the monotony of his everyday overlaid with these beautiful poetic musings from Driver's character. It is essentially an exploration of the everyday. It's an exploration of longing. It's an exploration of self-questioning, and Driver performs admirably. Jim Jarmusch is the director here in this 2016 film, and if you are a fan of those slower, more introspective stories, then this is certainly one for you. Number 5 is The Green Knight.
Friends, brothers and sisters, who can regale me and my queen with some myth?
The Green Knight is an epic film. It's shot and edited on a much larger scale than some of these other indie dramas on this list. It came out in 2021 to okay, moderate success in the box office, although in my personal opinion, I think it deserves so much more attention and praise. It comes from director David Lowery, who is perhaps best known for his direction of the film A Ghost Story. That film is a weird one, again, almost universally acclaimed, but certainly not a movie that I would recommend to the very casual filmgoer. The Green Knight is more accessible, but it's still odd. It is a retelling of the Arthurian legend, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and it takes some twists and turns in this fantasy world that Lowry creates, which at times are humorous, other times dramatic or depressing, and it always keeps you guessing in terms of what to expect coming next. As I mentioned, this film is a little bit more grand than some of the other smaller indie dramas. With a budget of $15 million, it might seem like a lot, but what you are able to see on screen for $15 million is astounding. For reference, a film that came out in that same year, 2021, Suicide Squad, had a budget of $185 million, over 10 times. So this is a perfect example of crafting an indie, epic, fantasy story using every resource that you have. Number 4 is Come On, Come On.
Sadness, joy, disappointment, and wonder.
Come On, Come On is directed by Mike Mills, who actually is perhaps best known for his direction of music videos, although he has also been the person in the director's chair for the film 20th Century Women, another brilliant piece of work from Mills. Come On, Come On is a narrative, fictional narrative, simultaneously shot alongside a documentary. It's a very unique concept, and it is also unique in its execution. Essentially, it stars Joaquin Phoenix alongside child actor Woody Norman. Phoenix playing Norman's uncle in this film, who has to essentially take care of him for a period of time while his mother is away. Joaquin Phoenix's character here is a journalist who has a project currently where he's going around and interviewing kids, teenagers, asking them about their lives. And this is where the documentary angle comes in. Joaquin Phoenix and the film team actually traveled around the country and interviewed these children, these teenagers. So when you see them on screen, you are seeing genuine children, genuine adolescents answering these questions honestly. Alongside this documentary angle, we have the growth of this relationship that is really kind of like a father-son relationship, even though it is technically uncle and nephew. We see the trials, the tribulations that they go through, and it is truly a heartwarming film. Number 3 is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Mrs. Wang. Mrs. Wang.
Mrs. Wang, are you with us?
I am paying attention.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once could very well be number 1 on this list, but I wanted to save some room for some films that maybe didn't blow up as much as this one did. What started off as, again, an indie film became arguably the biggest film of the year, essentially sweeping the Oscars against all odds, including Best Picture, Best Directors for the Daniels, multiple acting awards for its brilliant ensemble cast, including Michelle Yeoh and my favorite speech of the night from Ke Huy Quan. It is a film that should not have worked as well as it did. You have hot dog fingers, you have scenes where rocks are simply talking to each other, you have sex toys used in a variety of different ways. It is a family drama alongside a kung fu action flick, and every single piece falls in place perfectly. Number 2 is Sound of Metal.
We don't need to put them all out.
I know, but we just need to film.
Sound of Metal came out in 2019 from director Darius Marder, and it was so good. It was a movie that has stuck with me in the years that have followed, from its concept through Riz Ahmed's performance to the sound design and editing. There's so much here that is fascinating, that is engaging, and that really has longevity. Essentially, it follows Riz Ahmed, who at the start of the film is in a heavy metal band serving as a drummer. Unfortunately, he begins to experience sudden, rapid, severe hearing loss to the point that he is essentially deaf. He has no passion, or at least he thinks he has no passion outside of his music, and with the loss of his hearing, the pursuit of this passion becomes increasingly difficult. With this loss of music, he then starts to question who he is and where he belongs. We have great performances from Ahmed himself, obviously, but also Olivia Cook, and we have amazing performances here, obviously from Riz Ahmed as well as Olivia Cook, and perhaps the best performance of all from Paul Raci. Raci himself grew up as a child of deaf parents, and in the film serves as this connection for Riz Ahmed's character between the hearing and the non-hearing worlds. Despite not being a major box office hit, Sound of Metal did go on to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards and actually took home Best Sound and Best Film Editing. Number 1 is After Yang.
We can't get Yang fixed. We're not gonna buy another sibling for Mika.
After Yang is a film from Kogonada that I will continue to fight for. It made almost no money, at least in its initial release, but it was one of my favorite films of all of 2021. Director Kogonada is known for directing the film Columbus, which I would also very much recommend, but most of his work has actually been in the realm of video essays, for example, exploring the life of and work of directors like Richard Linklater. After Yang stars Colin Farrell alongside Justin H. Min in a tale of artificial intelligence, sci-fi, but really grounded in humanity. We essentially have a story that on the surface is a high-level concept. There are these AI companions that essentially you can purchase and add as almost a member of your family. But as the story progresses, we realize that it's less about this futuristic world that we're living in, and it's more about the everyday connections that these characters are making. My favorite scene of the year came from this film, where we literally have Colin Farrell chatting with Justin H. Min, who plays the AI individual added to the family, as they talk about tea. Literally, a conversation about tea was my favorite scene of the year. This shows Kogonada's understanding of the story that he was trying to tell, which was adapted from a short story, and also his prowess, his ability as a director. If you made it through the list, I really, really do appreciate it. Feel free to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, do all that stuff, and then hopefully watch the next one.